Oh, honey, let me tell you what went down. It all started with a smug little smirk. Picture this, Colin Jost, live on Saturday Night Live, looking straight into the camera with that trademark snarky grin, and then boom, he drops a line that set the whole internet on fire. He goes, apparently one of the terms in Trump's new UK trade deal is that we send Meghan Markle back, but only if she deletes her entire Instagram game. Aha, yes, he really said that, and the audience, they roared, laughed like they'd been waiting to hear someone say it out loud. But behind that laughter, oh baby, there was venom. That joke wasn't just shade, it was a dagger straight into the fairy tale narrative Meghan's been selling for years. Because no matter how polished her public image is, her past, it's crawling back with claws.
Trump also announced a new trade deal with the UK. All that Britain demands in return is that we keep these two.
No, I refuse.
Now, let's talk about those photos. You know the ones. The internet never forgets, babe. And when it catches a scent of scandal, it digs until it hits the bone. So imagine the chaos when old images start resurfacing of a woman who looks a whole lot like Meghan, lounging it up on a luxury yacht back in the 2010s. We're talking sun-kissed skin, oversized designer shades, clinking glasses of bubbly, not a care in the world. The photos weren't labeled with her name, oh no, but trust the internet sleuths because they recognized faces, pieced together timelines, and connected dots like it was their full-time job.
To build electric cars, he's going to Mars. Why is he even involving himself with Twitter? It would be like if the Prince of England gave it all up just to marry an actor from...
And oh, the vibes in those pictures, they didn't scream hustling actress, no ma'am. They whispered something more strategic. A woman who wasn't just lucky to fall into royal arms, this was someone who charted her path, calculated every step, and positioned herself right into elite society's golden circles. And now, well, the skeletons are dancing. And they're not alone. See, Meghan's critics are saying this is about more than just one photo. They're pointing out everything she's done to keep Harry far from his roots. No job, no royal duties, estranged from his family, and tied down in the States with their kids. Like, girl, did you just trap the prince? Because here's the tea. When the story you're selling, perfect love, underdog success, classy duchess, doesn't match the receipts people are pulling up from your past, oh, the crash is loud. And Colin Jost, he didn't stop with that first singer. Nope, he kept going on SNL, called Meghan out for constantly reinventing her backstory, changing her narrative based on who she's trying to impress. And that's what lit the forums on fire. Reddit exploding. Twitter a war zone. People are digging up guest lists from old yacht parties, running facial recognition on blurry pics, diving into metadata. It's not even the tabloids doing the dirty work. It's regular folks with Wi-Fi and way too much time. And guess what? They're not stopping. But you know what's even spookier than these resurfaced yacht pics? The silence. Oh my God, the eerie silence from Meghan's old crowd. People who used to brag about knowing her, dead quiet. Some deleted photos, some wiped entire accounts. A few pics look like they've been digitally doctored. It's giving panic mode. The theory flying around, coordinated, calculated, desperate, damage control, darling. And from Meghan herself, not a peep. No denial, no post about misinformation, no angry legal letter to the press. Just nothing. And girl, for someone who once sued a tabloid over a handwritten letter, this sudden stillness, it's loud. Because here's the deal. Silence in the age of nonstop online noise doesn't read as classy, it reads as guilty, or worse, as confirmation. And just like that, the beautiful curated Duchess fairy tale, cracking and fast. People are now whispering, if this was true, what else could be? Let's not pretend this shocked everyone. Some folks have always believed Meghan was playing a long game, that she's less Cinderella and more PR mastermind. Every speech about kindness, every charity photo op, every elegant gown, all performance. And now, with those photos back in play, the facade slipping. One particular image, oh, it's the crown jewel of this yacht girl saga. A luxury boat bobbing in the Mediterranean. A group of rich, polished influencers and businessmen. And right in the center, a woman who looks uncannily like Meghan. She's glowing, draped in wealth and connections. It's not illegal, no one's breaking laws, but the context, sweetie, that's what's killing her. The time, the faces, the overlaps with her pre-Harry life, and the fact that this photo magically disappeared from the internet years ago only makes it juicier. Then came the whispers, NDAs, vanishing friends, deleted social media trails, entire digital histories that evaporated after her engagement. Stylists, co-stars, influencers who once tagged her in everything, poof, gone. It's like Meghan Markle erased erased an entire version of herself. And that, people can't stop talking about it. Even her most loyal fans, they're struggling. They believed in the underdog tale, the feminist who beat the odds. But now it's starting to look like a carefully edited movie trailer for a very different kind of story. Was she the struggling actress clawing her way up, or a social climber with a blueprint and some very wealthy GPS coordinates? And then, oh Lord, there's the Prince Andrew connection. Yep, that little rumor that used to live in the shadows of conspiracy land. Now it's making its way into mainstream conversations. All it took was a blurry background face in an old party pic and some suspect proximity to known players. No proof, nothing solid, but people don't need proof anymore. They just need patterns. And these patterns, they're ugly. So here's the thing. Meghan, the woman who preaches transparency and accountability, who sues papers over headlines and handwritten notes, is now ghosting the one scandal that refuses to die. When it comes to these yacht girl whispers, radio silence. No clarifications, no heartfelt posts, not even a basic "that's not me" IG story. And honey, that's weird, because this is the same Meghan who would send lawyers if a tabloid sneezed the wrong way. But now, she's vanished into this tight-lipped PR bubble while the internet spirals. And you know what? That silence, it doesn't read as dignified anymore. It reads as calculated, because right when Meghan's trying to rebrand herself with polished podcast interviews, a new lifestyle line, and her shiny public persona, the internet has chosen violence. Old skeletons are being pulled out of the closet and paraded through the streets of Reddit, Twitter, YouTube, and it's ugly. What was meant to be a glorious comeback now looks like an elaborate cover-up. That whole empowerment image getting recast as manipulation. That woman who broke royal traditions, who stood for independence and truth, people are asking, was that real? Or was it just Meghan Markle's version of a rebrand campaign cooked up in a Beverly Hills boardroom? Because this isn't just about a yacht, it's about the gaping holes in the timeline. Why were those photos deleted? Why are her old friends untraceable? Why is she, the woman who never lets things slide, now completely mute? Every silence becomes a breadcrumb. Every missing post becomes a clue. Every vanishing friend, a witness gone dark. And baby, when there's this much smoke, people are gonna start screaming, fire! But babe, this is 2025. That era of controlling the narrative with 3 press releases and a Vogue cover, it's over. We've got receipts now. We've got archives. We've got backups of backups. You can't un-Google yourself anymore. Every time Meghan's team tries to erase the past, it just confirms the suspicion that there's something worth erasing. Every time they spin, people dig deeper, and it's all boiling down to perception. If the public is catching on, not just to the photos or the NDAs or the disappearing Insta history, but to the mask. And once that mask slips, once people think they've been sold a story instead of told the truth, they question everything. Was that TED Talk about women's rights heartfelt or a PR move? Was that Oprah interview honest or a chess move? Was that royal romance real or just the final chapter in a very calculated climb? People aren't mad that Meghan had a past. Who doesn't? What they're mad about is the cover-up, the pretending, the constant reinvention, the denial of a version of herself that everyone else is now convinced existed and was scrubbed clean before we ever met Duchess Meghan. If she had just said, yeah, I used to roll in elite circles. Yeah, I've changed. Yeah, I've grown. People would have respected that, but she chose silence. She chose the manicured version. And now that choice is turning into a full-blown credibility crisis. We're not watching a scandal, sweetie. We're watching an implosion. This wasn't supposed to be Meghan's story. She was supposed to be the symbol of reinvention, of resilience, of challenging the crown, rewriting tradition, standing for justice. She had the narrative of a generation. But now she's becoming a cautionary tale in how not to manage your image in the age of receipts and relentless internet detectives. Not because of who she was, but because she still won't admit it. And that's the one thing the internet never forgives. Now, let's talk about what's really unraveling here. This isn't about one leaked photo or one joke on live TV. It's not even about yacht parties or NDAs or disappearing digital trails. It's about trust. Because when someone builds an entire public image on being real, honest, unapologetic, and then gets caught burying the most unfiltered parts of their past, the public doesn't just turn skeptical, it turns cold. And that's what Meghan Markle is feeling right now. The freeze out. Not from tabloids, not from Buckingham Palace, but from the one group that always had her back. The people. The ones who defended her when headlines got brutal. The ones who praised her for standing up against the royal machine. The ones who said she's not like them, she's one of us. Now, even they're struggling to defend the silence. Because here's the harsh truth no PR team can fix. The moment people feel duped, they stop caring about the details. They don't want a perfectly edited Instagram quote. They don't want a staged podcast appearance. They don't want vague empowerment slogans. They want answers. Why did those images vanish? Why do so many people from her past act like she never existed? Why is she going full ghost when she used to clap back at everything? Where's the accountability now? Because Meghan's story was her power. She was the biracial American actress who found love with a prince, who didn't fit in with royalty and stood tall anyway. That narrative was strong, inspiring, and bold. But now it's cracking. And the worst part, the silence is making it all so much worse. See, the internet, it doesn't like being ignored. It doesn't like being treated like it's dumb. And every time Meghan looks the other way, posts a filtered lifestyle photo, or launches another carefully curated project without ever addressing the very obvious digital elephant in the room, it feels fake, it feels forced, it feels played. And that's the most dangerous perception you can have, because now the public is filling in the blanks. And when the blanks are this big, they don't fill them in with kindness. They fill them in with suspicion, resentment, doubt. And baby, once that narrative sets in, good luck trying to rewrite it. This isn't about proving anything anymore. It's about the vibe, the mood, the collective gut feeling that something's off. People don't need a headline to tell them that. They feel it deep down. And what makes it even more haunting, Meghan isn't doing anything to change that perception. No heartfelt apology, no brave confession, no honest sit down to say, yeah, I made moves, yeah, I cleaned up my past, but here's who I am now. Nothing. Just polished silence, choreographed public appearances, filtered content. But that silence, it's deafening. And it's shaping her legacy in ways a press release never could. Because once the public decides someone's wearing a mask, it doesn't matter what's underneath. The performance ends, the illusion breaks. And what's left is the wreckage of what used to be admiration. This is bigger than the yacht. It's the gap between Meghan's message and Meghan's methods. It's the way she speaks truth to power while deleting truth from her own timeline. It's the empowerment brand built on selective edits and digital erasure. It's the curated feminism that won't stand up and own a single piece of messiness from before the palace. And it all circles back to one thing: authenticity, not perfection, not purity or realness. That's all people wanted. That's all she needed to give. And instead, she gave silence. And now that silence is louder than any scandal. It's reshaping the way people see her, not just as a duchess or a woman of influence or even a public figure, but as a persona, a carefully constructed identity, a brand. And people aren't buying it anymore. So where does this all go? What's the ending? Honestly, there might not be one, because once the internet starts asking, it never really stops. The yacht photos may fade again, sure, the Reddit threads might quiet down, but the question mark hanging over Meghan Markle, that's not going away, not until she answers it herself. And if she never does, then this story, this shadow, this lingering whisper that refuses to die, it becomes part of her forever. Because in a world that lives on screenshots, archives, and viral receipts, the past doesn't stay buried. It always floats back to the surface, just like a yacht in the Mediterranean.